Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. The program is Focal Point, the home of muscular Christianity on Conservative Talk Radio. 888-589-8840. Number to call. Let's play two sound bites. Then we'll get right back to the phones. 888-589-8840. Let's grab clip number 4, Rob. And the important thing here, this is a reporter by the name of Joe Johns, and he's talking to Jay Carney. Remember, Jay Carney said, look, we're going to obey the law. We're going to consult with Congress. We now know that somebody from the Obama administration called Dianne Feinstein and apologized for not following the law. We didn't give you 30 days notice, and we're sorry. It was an oversight. That's the word they're using it on our part. Now, you're going to hear Jay Carney's bloviating response, but the important thing here is the question. Now, I didn't write down what media outlet Joe Johns is with, but this guy is going to be a liberal journalist. I mean, by definition, almost, they lean left unless they're with Fox News. So here's Joe Johns, and the important thing here really is more the question he asks than the answer. Let's listen.
And obviously, a lot of questions about the legality of this. Point blank, does the president feel as though on this issue and this kind of issue he's above the law?
Absolutely not. To be clear, the 30-day notice requirement has appeared in NDAA bills and in other legislation in this and prior years, and we have repeatedly noted concerns with this requirement. In signing statements, the president, has consistently made clear that the executive branch must have the flexibility to act swiftly in conducting negotiations with foreign countries regarding the circumstances of detainee transfers if necessary. And that was certainly the case here.
What you observe there is this song and dance between the media and the Obama administration. This was a setup. This was a softball. Jay Carney knew he was going to ask this question, and he had a written response already prepared. He knew that Joe Johns was going to ask him the question, and so apparently this had all been arranged beforehand. Joe Johns is like, I'm going to ask you this question, give you time to build a response, and so he did. But at least the liberal media is asking the question because it's occurring to everybody. Everybody recognizes this, that this is what is going on. Does the president feel that he is above the law? Now, here is Judge Napolitano, clip 5, and Judge Napolitano says, look, he not only broke the law, President Obama actually went way beyond just breaking the law. Let's listen.
As if a signing statement, a piece of paper he signs at the time he signs the law into existence, changes the law. It doesn't under our system. But, Megan, this is by far the lesser of the two laws that he violated. He and his team violated the federal statute which makes criminal providing material assistance to a terrorist organization. This includes money. This includes ceramic mugs, this includes maps, this includes professional services, and this includes releasing human assets back to a terrorist organization. President Obama's Justice Department has successfully prosecuted people for providing material assistance to terrorist organizations, and now he himself has done so by letting these 5 guys loose.
In order to convict of providing material support to terrorists, not only do you have to prove the defendant did that, but you also have to prove that he knew or intended that the support would be used to carry out a terrorist attack. Right? You don't have that's not here, Judge.
The president is not going to be prosecuted. But
he's not, because he didn't violate the law.
He violated the law by allowing assets to go back to a terrorist organization. You can't erect a telephone pole. You can't repair a laptop. You can't repair a tooth if you're a dentist for these organizations without violating federal statutes.
I don't agree with you.
Now, obviously a vigorous exchange there between Megyn Kelly and Judge Napolitano. But he says, look, President Obama has actually violated a federal statute that makes it a crime to provide material assistance to a terrorist organizations, and that's what President Obama has done. He's provided material assistance to a terrorist organization by releasing these 5 Taliban. We've got the story from Qatar, or however you say that, Qatar. They're running all over the place there. There's no restraint. They're living openly. They're back with their families. They're able to move about freely. They can go all over the country if they want. There's supposed to be this restriction about traveling within 1 year, but they are living the life of Riley in Qatar without any sort of restriction on this beautiful compound with their families all back together. Justin Napolitano says, look, he's rendered assistance, material assistance to a federal organization. Now let's grab clip number 6 while we're here, and then we'll go back to the phones, because the question comes up, look, these Taliban, this is our complaint. These are the worst of the worst. This is the dream team for the Taliban. This is their starting lineup. We're releasing them. We know what the recidivism rate is at Guantanamo. 25 to 30% of these guys go back onto the field to try to kill Americans. So what are the odds? These guys are experienced. They're hardcore. They've been successful. They're idolized in the Muslim world. The chances are, and that was our concern from the very beginning, that these guys are going to wind up back on the battlefield trying to kill Americans. Now, this is staggering to me. This is the President of the United States. This is our Commander-in-Chief. This is the man that is responsible to protect our security, to protect the lives of our families, to protect the lives of our wives, to protect the lives of our children, to protect the security of our communities. And so he's addressing this question about these Taliban guys going back to the field. Let's listen.
In terms of potential threats, the release of the Taliban who were being held in Guantanamo was conditioned on the Qataris keeping eyes on them and creating a structure in which we can monitor their activities. We will be keeping eyes on them. Is there the possibility of some of them trying to return to activities that are detrimental to us? Absolutely. That's been true of all the prisoners that were released from Guantanamo. There's a certain recidivism rate that takes place. I wouldn't be doing it if I thought that it was contrary to American national security. And we have confidence that we will be in a position to go after them if, in fact, they are engaging in activities that threaten our defenses.
Good grief. I mean, that's why they're in Gitmo in the first place, because that's exactly what they did. They engaged in activities that threatened our defenses. That's why we captured them and locked them up. I mean, this just beggars belief, the kind of thinking that's going on here. And, and he says directly, look, is there a possibility that they will return to activities that are detrimental to us? Absolutely. Absolutely, he says there's a chance these guys are going to go right back to trying to kill us, but we will be in a position to go after them if they do it. I mean, this is just absurd to me. We had them. We had them in our custody. We had them locked up. They couldn't kill us. They couldn't orchestrate attacks on our personnel and on our people. And now we've let them go, and the reassurance is, hey, we'll be able to go get them again if they get out of line and start killing innocent infidel Americans. All right, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Bob, Mansfield, Ohio. Bob, welcome. What's on your mind?
Hi, Brian.
Hey.
Good to talk with you. Love your program.
Thank you very much.
Do it every chance I get.
Great, thank you.
We were listening to one of the guys that was in Ferdal's unit, and he was talking about him, and then he says mentioned something about a plan when they were talking about him walking away.
Uh-huh.
And my wife and I were talking about a plan. What if? I mean, this is just speculation. That this whole thing was a plan, that the plan was for Ferdal to go, spend 5 years there, and give all the information that he could to the Taliban, and then the government, the U.S. government, would release these 5 because they requested it. The Taliban requested the release, and maybe this thing was a whole plan, 5 years ago. And to get these 5 guys back, you can't be too skeptical about things, but with this administration, you just wonder sometimes,
Yeah, you certainly do, and I mean, I would think virtually nothing is impossible, at this point, and I guess what I see happening here, and I wrote about this in my column today. You can find it at rightlyconcerned.com. And the title of my column is Obama's Bergdahl Plan Blows Up in His Face. And the point that I make in the column is that I think the way President Obama saw this thing going down is this was going to be like President Reagan securing the release of the Iranian hostages. Remember those 52 Americans held hostage for 444 days. Iran releases them the day that Ronald Reagan is inaugurated. And this was considered to be a great foreign policy triumph for President Reagan. And everybody lauded him for it. They applauded him. There were parades. Everybody was excited to see these hostages return home. And I think President Obama thought that's what's going to happen here. This is going to be my Reagan moment. I'm going to bring this American hostage. I'm going to liberate him from the clutches of the Muslims, bring him back to America. Everybody is going to be excited to see him. There are going to be homecoming parades. Everybody's going to be excited. And everybody is going to praise me for this presidential moment. And I think that was the picture that he had in mind. I think that was his big picture strategy to try to snag some of the glory that President Reagan got through that event. And the whole thing is blown completely up in his face because everybody recognizes now that this guy was a deserter. I mean, there's a picture of him on Drudge right now. Did Obama rescue a rat or set a rat free or something like that? What is the exact expression? Did Obama save a rat? That's basically what's on Drudge. So this is not turning into something where people are going to idolize President Obama for his cunning and for his leadership, but they're saying, look, this guy saved a rat. You know, so here he wanted this to be like Reagan bringing home the Iranian hostages, but instead it looks a lot more like Barney Fife rescuing Benedict Arnold. That's what that thing is looking like. He's looking clueless. He's looking inept. He looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's looking like, actually what he is, careless about breaking the law, but a spectacularly misguided, stupendously miscalibrated, and misjudged move on his part. So this is not working out at all like President Obama speculated that it would be. And so and that's why I think this Bo Bergdahl is in this reintegration program in Germany. I feel for the guy because I think he's going to be stuck there until people start forgetting about him, because this guy's lethal to President. He doesn't want this guy to breathe American air because of how bad it's going to make President Obama look. Focal Point and AFR Talk, back in 2.
Dan Seal.